Welcome, everyone. Great. We are right at about 12, so I'll be starting off the meeting in the interest of time. Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm Michelle Raphael, and I am the lead for the Business Accelerator at the American Heart Association. Thank you, everyone, for joining and for your interest in the Business Accelerator. If you have any questions during the call, feel free to enter them into the comment section. Riley will be monitoring the comment section and answering any questions while it's going on. And then we'll have a comments and questions time at the end of the info session. So please hold all of your questions for the end. Okay. Next. All right. So again, I'm Michelle Raphael, and I have my email at the bottom of this slide, just in case you have any questions. I will be your lead facilitator for the entire Business Accelerator. So application phase, training, post accelerator, I'll be your relationship manager. So I will really be with you throughout the entire process. Then we have Krista Chambers Price, which will also be joining me on this call. And she is the program architect and facilitator. Fancy word for she is your amazing trainer. So if you make it through the application process and you go into the training phase, she will be your amazing trainer. And Krista, if you want to come on and just say hi.
Hello, everyone. I hope that everyone's excited as we are because we have been waiting for this moment. So, yeah, Michelle, take it away. Hi, Lauren. I see you.
Awesome. So just a little bit of an overview on what we're going to be covering. We're going to have the overview of the program, who should apply, the evaluation of the applications, what you'll be going through if you make it through the training phase, some of the great things that will happen after the training, such as potential grant funding, and then also what will happen post accelerator with our founders that go through the process. So a little bit of an overview about what the actual Business Accelerator is. It's an opportunity that the American Heart Association has come up with basically. So this is our 8th year, and it started based upon the need to, we know that there are gaps in health equity. We want to drive people to be able to lead a healthy life, but we know that there are barriers. So we want people to exercise. We want them to eat healthy, right? We want them to have access to care. But certain neighborhoods, certain people are without access to those basic needs. And so instead of the American Heart Association, trying to reinvent the wheel and come up with solutions, we know that people like you on the call and companies and businesses and organizations are really driving this health impact in communities and are already working to drive this change. And so the Business Accelerator really is a way for the American Heart Association to drive health impact through taking you as founders and helping you become the best leaders you can be, in helping build up and scale up your business to drive that change in health equity that we're all really just built for and striving for, to help other people be able to reach optimal health. And so we're looking for digital and health equity focused founders, and we take them through a 6-week training where we focus on marketing strategy, brand storytelling, and business model scaling. And we'll talk more about that later. And the people who get through will be able to go for up to $75,000 in non-equity grants during our finale showcase. So over the past 8 years, this is our 8th year, we have given out over $1.33 million in grant funding. We have trained 166 founder and entrepreneurs. We have covered 26 states of impact through the Accelerator. And then post Accelerator, our candidates have been able to raise over $321 million. That is through grants and also through seed round funding. And then we've also had 1 company acquired. So this is the timeline that you'll see on the website. If you want to reference it again, the call will be recorded, and we'll also be sending out this PowerPoint for everyone to look at. So no need to jot everything quickly. But the application phase is open now through June 28th. We'll be evaluating the applications June 29th through July 26th. We'll go through what that evaluation is in a few minutes. Our top founders will be notified. Then there will be a pre-accelerator process, which basically means there's 4 days for whoever is brought into the accelerator process to go through a little mini session of what it would be like during the training. And so you get to know what is going to be expected from you as part of the training process. And we'll also get to know you a little bit better. And this will be the time where you can really decide, is this for me? Or I'm not ready to move forward. And so that's why we really have that pre-accelerator process. And then the real training starts August 12th through September 20th, and then it will culminate in the showcase event on October 9th. So who should apply? The applications, again, go through June 26th. You must be a U.S. citizen, 18 years of age. You can be a nonprofit or a for-profit startup. Your company must have a health impact and address one of the social determinants of health categories. And then you must be a founder or CEO of your business. And that is really because we will be diving deep into your business during the training. And we want to make sure that whoever is part of the training is able to make quick decisions and quick changes. And that's why we don't allow just someone as part of the company to join the training, is because we really need to be able to have a person of authority be able to make those changes. And as far as SDOH categories go, you can look on the website and in the FAQs to make sure that you're aligned with one of those social determinants of health categories. We will not be accepting smoothie and juice companies, gyms, personal trainers, private practices, consulting firms. Those are just not ones that we accept during this process for various reasons. All right, so the evaluation component of the application phase. So applications, once they close on June 26th or 28th, I'm sorry, will be evaluated on a few different metrics. So from the business side, we will be looking at whether your business is a great fit for the training phase, and also whether the funding amount is appropriate. So, if you are a very large organization with a lot of funding. Will a $50,000 grant really make an impact, or will it not be enough? Those are things that we think about. Where could we help you in the training phase? And then, are you impacting a social determinant of health, and will you have a health impact around health equity as well? Then we will, once we have evaluated the applications from that phase, they then move on to the Office of Science and Health Metrics, which is a really amazing piece of the Business Accelerator that I think really sets us apart from other pitch type competitions, is that you will actually be getting evaluated from an amazing research and science organization such as the American Heart Association. And your evaluation, you will be providing you with that evaluation if you get through as a candidate. And that piece will also help you get through the training piece. We'll be using that evaluation to help guide your process. And so part of that is that the metrics are around health impact potential, innovation and viability, and scalability. And you will get a score around each one of those elements. And then again, the timeline that we went over earlier, post-evaluation on there. So now we're going to go into what the training phase looks like, and I will pass that over to Krista.
Wonderful. Thank you, Michelle. Isn't Michelle awesome? Can we give her a high five from the chat? Give Michelle some love, because Michelle, let me tell you something. She is going to be your best friend as you go through this process, right? Now you'll be working with me throughout the training side of it, but once we're done and you get turned back over to her, she is the best. Okay. Now, a little bit about myself. My background is completely in the realm of marketing and branding for the last 25 years. I am a combat telecommunications specialist veteran of the U.S. Army National Guard, as well as a former fingerprint analyst for the FBI. And I've been in this space long enough to just see the ebbs and flows of what founders, have to do in order to not just declare that they're going to have a space in the market, but how do they scale and how they own that space, right? And through this accelerator, we've created a process where, within 6 weeks, you're going to be challenged to really understand and own the problem that you're solving within the market, not what you do, but the real problem that you're solving. And that will lead to the development of a 10-word or less moonshot statement that will be revealed to the public, because that's going to be your flag in the sand on the beachhead, right? That says this is why we exist, and this is why we are not just committed to doing this, but why we're uniquely positioned to tackle this problem. And the cool thing about making that declaration is, we actually bring that into the AHA community. So, and we do that through, LinkedIn posts. And if you've ever been to the AHA group, you'll understand that that's a wonderful place to actually drop that those moonshots into that market, because that's over 600, I think at this point, Michelle, it's probably 645,000 strong in that AHA market that you're going to get introduced to early in this process, which is very, very cool. Once that moonshot has been, tapped in and it's built, then you're going to go through a process of looking at, from a qualitative perspective, what are the, what's the impact that your customers, the end user, right? What are they expecting to see, and how do we understand the nuance for what your problem is solving within the market? Okay, we're going to do a lot of design thinking work where you're going to pull apart and look at, okay, we think we have a great moonshot, but Do we really understand, and have we gotten all the juice out of that lemon? Well, maybe lemon isn't the right fruit, but do we get everything out of that berry, right? That represents the that represents the problem that you're solving, and then the solution that's going to change the world, right? And we do think big throughout this process, and you're going to be forced to think even bigger than what you're probably going to come into this process with. Once we get through the design thinking process, you're going to be challenged even further to look at, okay, within a market that's probably saturated with other companies that do or provide solutions that are similar to yours, how do we ensure that what you're doing is going to stand out? Because we believe, and that's one of the things that we look at as we're reviewing your applications. We can see the stars, right from the applications, and we could see the enormous potential that all of you can bring to the table. Well, sometimes that's not translating into either the message, or it's not translating into the business model and how you're going to deliver that to the market. We're going to help you get there. Okay. So, and from that process, we're going to fall into, building your narrative. What is the story of your brand? And the story is complicated. It's not just the end product, which is important. The story includes your origin story, the strength of what puts you on the path to do what you're doing right now and to own that space, right? We're going to look at the customer story. The customer story is absolutely going to be profound, but you need to understand it so you know that you know how to describe it, how to articulate it, but your team is connected to that as well. The product has its own story. All of that blended together becomes your brand story, which is what you're going to share on October the 9th. So we're going to accomplish a lot. We're going to work hard. We are going to have some fun. Don't worry, it won't be a complete torture session, but we are going to work hard because we have a lot to accomplish within a short period of time. And as Michelle was saying earlier, we've had close to 200 teams have gone through this, and we haven't lost anybody yet. Right, Michelle? Uh-huh. Something else I want to make. Oh, the pre-accelerator that Michelle was talking about. That period is super important for us to focus on and complete with full clarity, because you're going to get to understand and know me a little bit more, but you're also going to see the full schedule for what you're going to be working on throughout the accelerator. And some folks, they do come in attached or at least committed to other programs. We understand that happens, but it's going to be critical for you guys to understand and commit to this progress and be completely transparent with us so that we can work with you so that you have the best experience that you can possibly get out of this. Okay, so that covers it, Michelle, of all the training. I forgot to talk about the push-ups. What else am I missing, Michelle? We got to do, you're going to do your rendition of the Whitney Houston at least twice during this process, all right?
Don't forget about the electric slide.
Yes, the electric slide. So we have to do a virtual electric slide. And yes, folks, yes, it's all good stuff. But thank you guys, and I'll be around for questions if you have them, throw them in the chat.
And I don't know if the way I'm sharing, you can see Krista. Hopefully you can. I think I had set it up in a certain way, but hopefully you can see her. If not, let me know and I can somehow make that better. So the next piece is really what you'll get from the process, which is there will be 3 different grant funding opportunities. The first place will get 50,000, second will get 12, and fan favorite will get 5,000. And the funding must go towards health impact. Here are a few examples of what we wouldn't want it to go towards. And you might want to note these things when you're going through the application process. It's going to ask you what will you use the grant funding for. And so these might be some things that you note that you wouldn't want to put in that section. Make sure that you're noting how it's going to have a health impact. Another exciting thing is that the top 2 finalists, the ones that get the 50 and the 12, will also be getting complimentary access to scientific sessions November 16th through 18th in Chicago, which will be a great opportunity for you to network and get some visibility for your company. And quickly wanted to go through a few more things because I want to give everyone at least 10 minutes to ask questions. So post Accelerator, we will be helping you build an entrepreneurial ecosystem. So that will also be a part of the October 9th event. So the October 9th event, you'll be presenting your brand story to a group of advisors. And those advisors will really be based upon the companies that get in, on whether, you know, they're looking for funding, on whether you're looking for, let's say, a hospital system or a payer. We're going to be trying to get people who will be great influencers in your network, and also people that could help provide you with some great advice. And then you'll have engagement opportunities post Accelerator through the AHA and other opportunities, but some examples are like being a speaker for the AHA, speaking on our behalf, being a part of our events, virtual and in person, being connected to the local markets, being connected to other teams within the AHA. So those are also great opportunities for you. And we will also have a formal metrics gathering platform. And that not only is going to help us tell our impact through the Business Accelerator, but it's also going to help you as a business, because you will be able, our metrics will be the standard metrics that are set by the industry that you are impacting, like the SOH category. And so that will really help you as a business be able to gather the data that other businesses in your market are gathering and be able to show the impact that you're having through that. And so these are just a few examples. Cardio Signal was part of our 2019 Accelerator. He just raised $10 million. Daniel Brillman with Unite Us was part of our first Accelerator in 2017, and he raised over $195 million. I'm sure a lot of us have heard of Unite Us. They are huge and amazing. And we have, because of the Business Accelerator, we actually the American Heart Association worked with Unite Us on a grant, 412 Food Rescue. Leah got to head a conference with Nancy Brown around food innovation. And then Peer Suite with Colby Takeda, he was also a 2019 candidate. He has moved on to our Social Impact Fund, which is another amazing program within the American Heart Association that provides funding in different ways to social impact funded businesses. So gonna open it up for questions now that we've kind of gone through it, and it's gonna open it up to everyone on the call.
Good morning.
Morning.
I am on Pacific time, so it's still morning here. I'm Lauren B. Parker. I'm the owner of Indio Wellness. I did have a question on the application. It said, it mentioned all the qualifications. It said nonprofits, and then it was for profit, but it mentioned pre-seed, and then another terminology that I'm not familiar with. So I was just wanting to get clarification, because then in the application, there is a question that says, is this an idea? Is it kind of like a startup, or you 0 to 5 year, and so on? So is that something specific in terms of that seed qualification bullet point?
So They're kind of the same and different. Going through it, we want to know where you are, like what phase you are in your company. So we do get people that apply with an idea, and we get people that apply in like the startup phase, but it's also important for us to know like how large your organization is. And that's why we ask how many employees, because that helps us also gauge where you are. And then the other piece is like the funding angle. So we just want to know where you are in terms of how much funding that you've raised and where you are. Uh, in a nonprofit, we know that you could be in business for 20 years, but you could be applying with a specific project. And that's why we have that part of the application asking if you're applying with a certain program, because as a nonprofit, you could be thinking, I've been wanting to apply for this program or implement this program, but we haven't had funding for it. And this would be a great way of starting that piece of that program by getting grant funding for it. It's a little bit different for a for-profit company. We're mostly looking at where they are in their phase, like if they have gone into a seed round or not, know if our funding is going to be right for you.
Okay, that makes sense. And I'm glad you talked about that with the nonprofit with a project. So then my follow-up question to that, because right now my business, it is what I guess someone would call a private practice. However, what I'm looking to do and what I'm moving into is into corporate wellness. And so it's more of a program. So that is a project that I'm working on and wanting to move my business towards that. So would you advise that I apply from that, I guess, perspective, because that's what I'm looking for it for, so that I can build relationships and then look to do some corporate wellness programs to impact the landscape of wellness in the workplace.
Sorry, it cut out for me. Krista, did you hear that?
Yeah, it cut out for me as well. So Lauren, can you just summarize it again real quick?
Yeah, I just had the question about for all intents and purposes, my practice would be considered a private practice right now, but the project that I am working towards and what the end goal in my, 1 year and 3 year and 5 year, right, goal is to have a corporate wellness program. So I'm shifting from that model to doing corporate wellness. And so that is what I would be applying to this accelerator and so on for.
Okay.
Yeah. So specifically when you're filling out your application, you should make sure that you're applying with that in mind and making sure that you're giving us enough detail around the end goal.
Got it. Okay. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
You. And looks like Sheila Curry Campbell has a question. Give your hand up.
I do. Thank you so much for creating this space. My name is Sheila Curry Campbell, and I'm out of Fort Wayne, Indiana. I actually work with the American Heart Association here as a volunteer. We just had our blood pressure hub, our hypertension hub. So we just had that, the training for that last week. And so bringing churches side by side. So I guess we have a 501c3. We're located in East Central. And so our hypertension is where we're at. So I guess my question is, if we're already doing something with the American Heart Association, I mean, we do the CPR. I mean, can I build around that, or it has to be a totally new initiative with our hypertension hub as the center, I guess is what. How can we take advantage of this opportunity?
Thank you for the question. So it doesn't need to be it doesn't need to be a new program. It could center around what you're already doing. Just make sure that you are clear on where the AHA has already helped you in the process so that we can know that piece. And also make sure that you are telling us about what makes it innovative, because that is really one of the key things that we're looking at. The AHA supports a lot through grant funding, right? And so what the Business Accelerator really is doing is looking for innovation within those within these businesses and how we can support you. So
Right, we're a resilience hub, and so we're in a disadvantaged community. We're trying to get this message out to other churches. And so the innovation, well, I won't talk about what the innovation is, but we attempted to apply for the social impact fund, and the website was down. I sent several emails. No one ever got back to me. So is that closed? Is the impact social impact fund, is that closed? Is that grant opportunity closed?
So that one is kind of in different phases. And so if you want to email me, we can talk more about that, because I want to make sure we get to other questions. And if we can do our best to, yeah, email me. I'm happy to talk to you more about that piece. Okay, I don't know who raised their hand first. So someone just wants to come off mute.
Hey, it's Faith. So I am a nurse, and a friend of mine is a nurse as well. And we started an organization to bring lifestyle medicine to communities that are typically impoverished or disadvantaged and vulnerable. So we partner with community-based organizations. So us ourselves are for-profit social enterprise, but typically partnering with 501c3s. So if I'm hearing this correctly, when we apply, should we say our project is working with this organization because we would help them with their funding, or should we have them apply and we would be their partner?
That's a good question. Krista, do you have any feedback on that?
No, actually the program itself should apply, and because you will be providing the support for them, and but then they'd have to understand what's required for them to complete the accelerator, and we would have to coordinate with your team with, okay, at what point in their journey do you come in and impact the work that they're doing? So recommend you inviting them or encouraging them to apply. And if they make it through the application process, then just have them make note that that you are a part of their process as well.
Okay.
Yeah. I think it's hard to know without really reading through the application, but I think whoever is going to take the lead really should be the one applying, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, that's helpful.
Okay.
Okay, and then like they wouldn't pay for our salary per se, but like we draw labs and supplies for the classes and things like that, and then that's what this grant would cover? Or would it pay for teaching time as well?
Well, so it's gonna depend. I can't really answer specific questions like that right now without really going through your application, but as long as it drives a health impact and it can show health impact, then the grant can cover that.
Okay, thanks.
And I'm sorry, I just don't want to give specific information without the full picture.
Yeah, I'll email you. Thanks, Michelle.
All right, Nico, you have a question?
Yeah, hi Michelle.
Hi.
This is Nico. My name is Nico, CEO and founder of Cardiost. We are a medical device company focused on structural heart technology And I was wondering if medical devices are allowed to apply to the program, and if so, a class 3 medical device is good candidate.
Great question. We definitely encourage you to apply with a medical device. Depending on where you are in your company, where you are in the process, that will make a big difference on on whether we can accept it or not. So just make sure when you're applying that you put that into the application, like exactly where you are in the phase of the med tech process, where you are in funding. We just need to know all of that so that we can evaluate the application properly.
Thank you.
Any other questions? And can't see hands. Okay. Well, we did record this and we'll be sending it out. If you had any questions in the notes section, I think Riley will note those and send them over to me. But again, you can email me p-michelle.raphael@heart.org. My information's also on the website, and we'll send the PowerPoint out. And also please make sure that if you are in the application process and you submit, you'll get an email back with a link to the Innovation Academy. And that, if you take lessons on there, that will also help us get more background on you as a business, and that might help with our evaluation process. Rinko, I see your hand if you want to ask your question.
Yes, hi. Thank you for an excellent presentation. I'm CEO of IHP Therapeutics. We're developing a drug for sickle cell pain crisis that impacts primarily members from the BIPOC communities. And we've got some grant funding from the NIH and some seed funding. If you were to apply, and if you're to be lucky enough to get a grant, could we use that for aspects that are not covered by grant funding, such as paying for patents or, IP coverage, legal fees, etc.?
I'm going to say technically, yes, we have had some companies pay for that because they've been able to show that obviously getting through the patent and the FDA approval process and all of that will in turn then, have a health impact. So I'm going to say yes for now, but it's definitely a process we go through at the end with each of the candidates to talk through, what it looks like in terms of your business and getting the grant funding and what you can use it towards.
Thank you.
Thank you. Sheila?
I do apologize. And so is there a region, or, are you going to try to do 2 in the Midwest, 1 in,
Nope.
no, it's just whatever innovative program that reached that bar. I
Yeah.
don't think
So
that
this is national scope. We do have
Yeah.
local market ones. However, for the upcoming year, we don't have any local focus ones, but this is a national call out and we don't have any restrictions on how many we take from each of the areas.
Okay, I'm just starting, because I'm listening to the folks here. Maybe
Mhm.
this is not a match for us. I
Don't
am
be
the decision
discouraged.
maker.
I know that.
I'm hearing people with devices, we're grassroots. We serve the BIPOC community. We're trying to be innovative in this space. And so sickle cell, we're not doing that.
That's okay. So it's not apples to apples, and we know that. And so we do take medical devices, we take apps, and we take health tech oriented businesses, but we also have a very strong connection and a very strong will to accept community-focused organizations as well. And just to give you like a little example, we had one in the Bay Area, and 4 out of the 5 were health tech and med tech devices, and 1 was a community-focused program, and she ended up winning over the other 4. And so please don't be discouraged. I know it sounds like you can't compete, but we put you in the same program, but you can prevail as a community organization, and we are heavily focused on community-centered solutions. And so we definitely want community-centered solutions applying, and we definitely want them as part of the process too.
Thank you.
So hopefully that answered everyone's questions. Feel free to email me, and have a great day.
Thank you. You too. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you.
All
I
right.
have one last question as we're leaving. It's just
Sure.
specific to our organization. We have 2 CEOs.
Mhm.
Oh yes, and I see someone answered in the chat.
Yeah.
We wanted to ask if we could put both of our names on there.
You know, it's interesting, Candace, is like we've had that situation in the past. And the way you make the distinction is whoever had the original idea or the original spark or inspiration for the company, then they should be the ones who actually are the lead through the accelerator, right? We can
Well,
bring
it was,
in,
yeah.
we could bring in the partner later on as you know, the other CEOs getting ready for the storytelling piece or prepping them to talk to the judges or the other advisors. So
Yeah.
does that help?
It was actually, so I'm Candace here, and Dr.
Oh, got it.
It was actually entirely a mutual decision. No, neither of us like preceded the other.
And yet, and I would push back a little bit on that, Candace, because we're all different. We don't think at the same, you know, at the same time, at the same moment. And there's probably a distinction there that really provides someone led with one part of this concept. And even though you are joined at the hip now, I get it. Somebody made that first step. And maybe inspired the other, but one person did do that. And you just had to decide who that individual was.
I would also think about your strengths and who would be the best to tell the brand story and who's more focused on like that brand side of things. Like who's the one that presents more to potential partners or potential funders, because you will be getting like that training piece to tell your brand story. And so if there's someone of the 2 of you that would be a better fit for that, I would think of that too.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. Thank you.
You guys have a good day.
Thank you.
Bye.
Good job, Michelle.